The greatest terror for those who stand against you is not your silence. It is the moment you fully embody the version of yourself they swore you could never become. Let that truth sink deep into your soul, chosen one. Tonight, not tomorrow, not some vague future date. Tonight, the universe ignites a spark within you, a switch that flips and changes everything. Once it happens, there is no going back. Those who underestimated you, who whispered behind your back that you would never amount to anything, will feel this shift in their very bones. They will act confused, pretend they do not notice, but deep in their core, they will know exactly what has occurred. A force has awakened, and it is you. Picture this. Chosen one. A dimly lit room filled with people laughing at a single candle, mocking its small, fragile flame, believing it can be snuffed out with a single breath. They point, they jeer, they dismiss it as weak, insignificant, easily extinguished. But then, that tiny flame brushes against a pile of dry wood. In an instant, the entire room erupts into a roaring blaze, unstoppable, all-consuming. The laughter stops, replaced by stunned silence, then panic. That is you tonight. For so long, they thought you were just a spark, a fleeting glimmer they could extinguish with their doubt, their gossip, their jealousy. They believed they could control you, keep you small, keep you contained. But tonight, you become a fire they cannot control, a blaze they cannot put out, a force that reshapes the very air around you. Here is a fact that will shake the ground beneath their feet. Research on human behavior shows that when a person fully embraces their authentic identity without fear, their social influence can double or triple in a matter of hours. This is not mere philosophy. It is data backed by science. When you stop hiding, stop watering down your essence to make others comfortable, you become a magnet for energy, opportunities, and attention that were once withheld from you. That is exactly what is happening to you tonight. No more shrinking to fit their expectations. No more dimming your light to ease their insecurities. You are stepping into the frequency they have always feared you would find. A vibration so powerful it disrupts their carefully constructed illusions. Thank you, chosen one, for being here with me in this sacred moment. Your presence is not accidental. It is divine. Do not forget to share this message by pressing like and subscribing so it can reach more souls who need to hear it. This is not just a channel. It is a mission, a movement, a call to awaken the chosen ones who have been waiting for this moment. You are part of a force far greater than yourself, and spreading this light is our collective responsibility. So thank you for showing up, chosen one, because your presence matters more than you know. Drop a comment with the number 1777 if you are ready to step into the version of yourself they said could never exist. This is not just a message. It is the confirmation your spirit has been craving. Stay with me until the end because every word feels like it was written for you alone. Tonight is not just another night. It is a turning point, a seismic shift so profound that when you wake tomorrow, the very atmosphere around you will feel different. People will sense it before you even speak. They will notice the way you carry yourself, with a quiet confidence that radiates from your core. They will see the steadiness in your eyes, a gaze that no longer wavers under scrutiny. Your silence will command respect, not because you demand it, but because it carries a weight they cannot ignore. Those who doubted you, who bet against you, will scramble in their hearts and minds. They have spent years convincing themselves you would never reach this moment, that you would remain small, broken, or invisible. But tonight you shatter their illusions. The truth is, chosen one, you have always been different. You have felt it since you were young, that pressure to shrink, to blend in, to make others comfortable at the expense of your own truth. Perhaps you dimmed your light to avoid conflict, to keep the peace, to soothe the insecurities of those who could not handle your brilliance. Maybe you tried to fit into their boxes, to tone down your intensity, to make life easier for those who felt threatened by your presence. But the universe does not allow chosen ones to stay hidden forever. There comes a night, like this one, when everything you have suppressed, everything you have buried, rises to the surface and refuses to stay silent. Tonight, you become undeniable, a force so potent that no one can look away. Think about how many times they tried to contain you. They slapped labels on you. Too sensitive, too ambitious, too different. They doubted your dreams, rolled their eyes at your potential, dismissed your vision as unrealistic. They needed you to stay small so their insecurities could breathe, so their fragile egos could remain unchallenged. But the universe has been working behind the scenes, preparing you for this moment. It has been stripping away the fake connections that drained you, the meaningless distractions that clouded your vision, the heavy baggage that weighed you down. It has forced you to stand in your own power, to face the truth of who you are. Tonight, you do not just step into your role. You claim it with every fiber of your being. Here is what makes this moment poetic. The very people who underestimated you will be the ones most unsettled by your transformation. They will act like nothing has changed, but you will hear the tremor in their voices when they speak to you. They will watch you in silence, scrolling through your presence online or in person, pretending they are unaffected. But every part of them will be rattled. You will haunt them simply by existing in the fullness of who you are. This is not about arrogance, chosen one. It is about inevitability. When the universe selects someone to rise, no force on earth can stop it. Not envy, not gossip, not even betrayal. Tonight, that unstoppable current flows through you. They will feel it, they will resist it, but they cannot deny it. So prepare yourself, chosen one. You are not just walking into a new chapter. You are becoming the chapter that others cannot skip over. Tonight, you embody the version of yourself they prayed would never arrive. You stop being their fear and start becoming their reality. This is not just a message. It is your confirmation, your moment, the truth of who you will 100% become tonight. Take a deep breath, because what is about to unfold is not just talk, it is the mirror of your journey. If you have made it this far, it means the universe has already marked you for something extraordinary. Tonight is the night it all comes to life. Lock in with me, chosen one. Stay grounded and ride this message until the very end, because every word feels like it was crafted for your soul. Drop a comment with 777 if you are ready to become the version of yourself they said could never exist. This is more than a message. It is the confirmation your spirit has been waiting for. The longer you stay, the clearer it will become why tonight changes everything. Let us not waste another second. Chosen one, get ready, because this is exactly who you will become tonight. Let us begin. You become the fire that exposes truth. The most devastating blow to those who oppose you is not your anger or your words. It is forcing them to confront their own truth in the blazing light of your authenticity. Tonight, you stop being the safe, polished mirror that reflects back what they want to see. The mirror that flatters their egos, hides their flaws, and bends to their illusions. Instead, you become a fire. A relentless blaze that strips away their masks, melts through their layers of pretense, and exposes them to the harsh, unyielding light of reality. They wanted you silent, compliant, molded into a version of yourself that made them feel comfortable and in control. But tonight you stop reflecting their lies. You start burning with truth. Imagine a grand theater where a performer stands on stage, smiling confidently, reciting their carefully rehearsed lines, basking in the applause of an adoring audience. Their makeup is flawless, their costume pristine, their act perfectly curated to maintain the illusion of perfection. But then the stage lights grow brighter, harsher, hotter. The heat intensifies, and suddenly their makeup begins to melt, dripping down their face like wax. Their costume starts to itch, the fabric fraying at the seams. Their mask, once so firmly in place, no longer sticks. The audience gasps. The performer stumbles, their performance unravels. That is you, chosen one. You are the light turned into flame, the heat that reveals the truth beneath their carefully constructed facades. They squirm, they sweat, they fumble, not because you say a word, but because your very existence burns their act to ashes. Psychology tells us that most people wear masks not to deceive others, but to protect themselves from the terror of being truly seen. Their fake confidence, their curated image, their I am doing fine act, it is all armor, designed to shield them from their own insecurities. But the universe has placed in you a rare gift, an energy so potent it pierces that armor without you lifting a finger. Your presence alone is the heat they cannot withstand. That is why they avoid your eyes when you enter a room. That is why they call you intimidating, arrogant, or cold. What they are really saying is, you do not let me lie to myself anymore, and I cannot handle it. Your authenticity is a truth they cannot escape, a clarity that cuts through their illusions like a blade through paper. They will try to twist your clarity into cruelty, to rewrite your presence as a problem. They will claim you are too much, too intense, too unapproachable. But understand this, chosen one, they do not hate you. They hate what you awaken in them. You are the living proof that their illusions are crumbling, that their carefully crafted masks are no longer enough. This shift is not loud. It is quiet, but it is violent in its impact. You will not need to shout, explain, or defend yourself. Your silence will speak louder than their noise. Your stillness will make them restless. Your authenticity will burn like acid on their skin. Some will crumble under the weight of it, unable to face the truth you reflect. Others will lash out, desperate to regain control. But every single one of them will be changed by it, whether they admit it or not. This is the power the universe has forged within you. Chosen one. It is not showy or dramatic. It is relentless clarity and X-ray vision for the soul. You might wonder, why me? Why do I have to be the one who makes others uncomfortable? The answer is simple. Illusions are comfortable prisons, and most people would rather stay locked inside than face the cost of freedom. You are the crack in the wall, the force that makes the prison tremble, the reminder that pretending is not living. That terrifies them because it forces them to confront their own choices. It is not your fault they cannot breathe in the presence of truth. It is their choice to cling to lies. This path will not win you applause, chosen one. The world loves mirrors that flatter, but it despises flames that burn illusions to the ground. They will misunderstand you, call you names, project their insecurities onto you. But beneath their resentment, even in their anger, they will respect you because deep down, they know you carry something they cannot fake. Authenticity. Tonight, you stop being invisible. Your presence will unsettle the unprepared, your silence will make liars tremble, and your truth will sting pretenders like fire. This is not a role you asked for, it is what the universe carved into you. While they scramble to hide behind excuses, you will stand unshaken, embodying a truth they cannot kill. You become the evidence of a real war. The cruelest trick your enemies ever played was convincing you the war was not real while they bled you dry in silence. Tonight, chosen one, the mask comes off. You stop chalking up your struggles to bad luck, coincidence, or random misfortune. You see with unfiltered clarity that what you have endured was not just hardship, it was calculated resistance, a deliberate attempt to keep you small. Every knife in your back, every season of loneliness, every betrayal that seemed to come out of nowhere was not random. It was designed. Starting tonight, you become the walking evidence that this was never a metaphor. The battlefield was always real, and you are its living proof. The universe does not waste suffering, it forges it into weapons. Picture a soldier on a battlefield, unaware he is at war. He thinks the bullets whizzing past his head are accidents. The trenches he falls into mere missteps. He wonders if he is clumsy, cursed, or unworthy, blaming himself for the chaos around him. But one night someone hands him binoculars. Suddenly, he sees the enemy lines, the carefully laid traps, the crosshairs aimed at his heart. He realizes he was not cursed, he was targeted. That is you tonight, chosen one. The universe places those binoculars in your hands, and once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. Think about it. Why did the betrayals cut so deep? Why did the people you trusted most turn into strangers overnight? Why did the energy in a room shift the moment you walked in? Because your energy was never neutral, chosen one. It is rare, disruptive, a threat to systems built on lies. Those systems do not just attack through rules or policies, they attack through people, through pawns, who often do not even realize they are being used. They thought they were setting boundaries, choosing themselves, or moving on, but beneath their actions they were tools in a larger strategy to keep you contained. You were not unlucky, you were marked. That is why nothing ever felt normal for you. Where others could coast through life, you had to climb. Where others could rest, you were tested. Where others were celebrated for half the effort, you were torn down for daring to try. You questioned yourself, did you not? Why me? Why does it always feel like I am under attack? The answer is simple, because you were. This was not a metaphor, it was a war. Isolation was not a mistake. It was a tactic. The gaslighting was not just miscommunication. It was psychological warfare designed to make you doubt your sanity. The distractions were not random. They were planted to keep you too exhausted to see clearly. Everything they did was meant to keep you weak, quiet, and questioning yourself. Yet, here you are, chosen one, still breathing, still rising, carrying a fire in your chest that they could not extinguish. They thought breaking you would bury you, but all they did was train you to fight in the dark. Every night you cried alone, every day you walked with no one clapping, every hour you questioned if you were built for this. It was not wasted time. It was training. You were being sharpened when you thought you were being shattered. You were being built in silence for the stage that opens tonight. You might ask, if it was all warfare, what does that mean for me now? Do I stay on defense forever? The answer is no. Tonight is the shift. Tonight the veil lifts and you stop stumbling in the dark. You see the battlefield for what it is, and you are no longer the hunted. You are no longer the experiment, the one being studied or manipulated. You hold the blueprints now, and they know it. Imagine walking back into the same room where they once mocked you. But this time, you see every game, every tactic, every disguise. Their smiles look hollow, their words ring false, their energy betrays them before they even finish a sentence. You do not fall for it anymore, because you are not blind to the war. This clarity makes you untouchable. The hunted becomes dangerous the day they recognize the hunt. Tonight you realize the chaos was not random, it was resistance. The betrayals were not personal, they were strategic. The losses were not punishment, they were preparation. Suddenly everything makes sense. The fog lifts, the scattered pieces align, and you see you were never crazy, never cursed, never weak. You were being forged. If they needed all those tactics to slow you down before you even knew you were at war, imagine what happens now that you do. That is the part that terrifies them, because tonight, the battlefield shifts. You are no longer stumbling in the crossfire, you are standing tall, watching them scramble. They know that once you see the truth, you can never go back to playing blind. You become the signal that shatters illusions. The most powerful weapon is not a blade or a gun. It is a frequency that makes lies collapse the moment it enters a room. Tonight, Chosen One, you become that frequency, a vibration so pure and disruptive that it dismantles everything built on fraud, control, or manipulation. When you step into a space, false systems begin to crack. People who thrived on pretending, on bending the truth to their advantage, suddenly falter in your presence. Their jokes fall flat. Their charm feels stale. Their ability to sway the room evaporates. Why? Because you are there, and your clean energy corrupts their dirty systems. Imagine walking into a room filled with smoke machines, where everyone has grown accustomed to breathing the haze, pretending it is fresh air. They laugh, they chatter, they act as if the fog is normal. But the moment you open a window, the smoke is exposed for what it is, poison. That is you, Chosen One. You do not even have to call it out. Your presence is the open window. Suddenly, no one can pretend they are breathing clean air anymore. This is not ego or arrogance. It is the natural evolution of someone who has been stripped down and rebuilt so many times that your aura no longer blends with anything artificial. Your frequency is now so clean, it acts like a truth serum, forcing people to confront what they have been hiding. You will notice this shift in small but undeniable ways. Manipulators who once held entire rooms under their spell will start to fumble when you are near. Their voices will waver, their rhythm will break, their grip on others will weaken. Why? Because their power was never real, it was borrowed from people's fear, and fear collapses in the presence of authenticity. That is why they avoid your gaze, laugh nervously at things that are not funny, or twist your truth into a problem. They feel their programming fail when you are near. Your authenticity does not shout, it corrodes the fake until it crumbles. Picture a corrupt building held up by cheap scaffolding. Its walls painted to look sturdy, its foundation weak. Every time you walk in, your frequency shakes the structure like an earthquake. The paint peels, the cracks widen, the illusion of stability falls apart. That is why you cannot stay in certain places anymore, not because you are fragile, but because your spirit refuses to lower itself to make broken systems comfortable. Even your environment reacts to your presence. Technology may glitch more often around you, as if it cannot handle the intensity of your energy. People may feel drained or electrified just by being near you, their reactions betraying the truth they cannot hide. Your nervous system is now tuned to wavelengths most cannot even register, warning you when a space is not safe, not with paranoia, but with crystal clear clarity. This is why you have become expensive. Chosen One, too expensive for their cheap games. too powerful for their petty manipulations, too clean for their dirty systems. Tonight marks the point of no return. You are not just entering spaces anymore, you are rewriting them. You are the frequency they cannot fake, cannot copy, cannot silence. That is why they fear you, and that fear will only grow as you step fully into this power. You become the breaker of clocks and chains. The deepest fear of those who oppose you is not that you will move forward, it is that you will undo everything they built by existing in the present. Tonight, chosen one, you step into a power that does not just shift your path, it bends reality itself. You are no longer bound by their rules of time, trapped in yesterday's chains or tomorrow's promises. You become a living interruption, the collapse of cycles, the one who stops generational patterns dead in their tracks. The weight you feel right now is not stress or confusion, it is data, the universe uploading codes into your chest, rewiring your spirit to carry a responsibility no one before you could bear. When you break time, the past remembers and the future rearranges. Have you noticed how people from your past, old friends, old lovers, old enemies, suddenly resurface in your thoughts or your life? Why do their names pop into your mind, their faces haunting your dreams? That is not random. It is your energy vibrating through dimensions, sending ripples into spaces they thought were closed. They feel you correcting the stories they told, undoing the lies they leaned on, collapsing the narratives they hid behind. They do not know why you are suddenly haunting them, but you know you have become the reset point, the moment where everything shifts. Imagine a family line carrying the same wound for generations: abuse, betrayal, silence, shame. Everyone shrugs and says, that is just how it is. Then you arrive, and instead of repeating the pattern, you end it. Your healing sends shockwaves backward, comforting ancestors who never found peace, and forward, gifting strength to descendants not yet born. That is the power of a time breaker. You do not chase closure anymore, you are the closure. You might feel overwhelmed, asking, why me? Why do I carry the weight of more than my own story? Because you do, chosen one. You are not just rising, you are correcting history. Every moment you refuse to bow to lies. Every second you choose truth over comfort. Every scar you turn into wisdom. These are not personal wins. They are historical resets. The past is haunted by you. The future is shaped by you. The present is terrified of you. That is why their denials no longer protect them. Their fake stories collapse in your presence. Even your old self, the broken, silenced, overlooked version, feels your arrival. It is like meeting yourself again, but this time with justice, with voice, with wisdom. You are the closure your past self begged for, the event they never saw coming, the restart button, the cosmic interruption, the breaker of clocks and chains. Tonight, everything they twisted, buried, or tried to silence begins to unravel through you. You become the memory they tried to erase. The greatest fear of those who opposed you was never your pain. It was the day you would remember who you truly are. That day has arrived, chosen one. Tonight, you stop being the amnesiac they worked so hard to create, and you step into the remembrance they prayed would never come. They did not just try to hurt you. They tried to bury you under layers of shame, distractions, and noise so thick you would question if your light was ever real. They spun false narratives about you, pinned fake identities on your back, rewrote timelines to keep you asleep and forgetful. But memory cannot be destroyed, it only waits. Tonight, it returns with thunder. The truth does not whisper, it roars when the silence has gone on too long. Have you ever felt it, chosen one? That haunting sense that something was not adding up, as if life was happening around you but you were not fully in it? Like everyone else had agreed to a script you never received. That was not confusion, it was recognition. Your soul was screaming through the cracks, reminding you that the story they fed you was not the full truth. Imagine a child raised in a hall of mirrors. Every reflection distorted, some stretched, some shrunk, some warped until the child forgot their true face. That is what they did to you. They told you you were too much, too sensitive, too rebellious. But what they meant was, you see too clearly, and if you remember who you are, our lies will not survive. They failed. Chosen one. The programming is cracking. The false reflections are shattering. Your memory is bleeding back through, not just as thoughts, but as cellular remembrance. It is in your bones, your breath, your heartbeat. The secret they feared most that you would one day remember is unfolding right now. The most dangerous power is not learned. It is remembered. You were not just someone they tried to control, you were the one they feared would wake up and speak. That is why they punished you for knowing too much, mocked you for standing still when others ran into chaos, shamed you for carrying truths they could not explain. They tried to overwrite your instincts, drown your intuition, numb your energy. But no lie, no trauma, no manipulation was strong enough to erase the imprint of who you are. Tonight, that imprint reactivates. You are the revelation they tried to bury. The ancient return they prayed would never come. You become the verdict they cannot escape. The heaviest sentence you can deliver to those who doubted you is not spoken in a courtroom. It is the life you live, the one they swore you could never achieve. Tonight, chosen one, you become that verdict. You do not need to drag out receipts, argue your case, or scream for validation. You do not need to chase revenge or prove your innocence. Your very existence does it for you. That is what terrifies them most. You are no longer a defense attorney pleading your case. You are the judgment itself. Truth does not argue, it arrives, and lies collapse in its shadow. When you heal for real, when you stop playing small to keep others comfortable, when you step fully into the version of yourself they swore would never survive, you become living proof that their tactics failed. They called you the problem, painted you as unstable, difficult, or bitter. They tried to twist your silence into guilt, hoping your absence would erase the memory of their betrayal. But it did not. Your silence became their loudest accuser. Now just hearing your name will feel like an alarm clock in their chest, sharp, sudden, impossible to ignore. Their conscience will rattle, their masks will slip, their carefully constructed image will crumble, not because you expose them, but because your healing leaves them no place to hide. Imagine someone who mocked you, counted you out, even celebrated your downfall. Now picture them scrolling through your presence today, whether online or in person, and seeing your stability, your growth, your glow. They feel a twist in their gut, not because you said a word, but because they know they did not just lose you, they lost the cover story they built around you. Your life has become the closing argument they cannot cross-examine. Your peace is harsher than any revenge, your success more piercing than any accusation. They said you were too broken, yet your joy now makes them choke. They said you were too damaged, yet you have become the safest presence in the room. Every label they threw at you has turned into armor, every lie into fuel. Your existence screams one unshakable truth. None of their tactics worked. You are the verdict they thought they would never face. You become the collapse of their illusions of control. The greatest illusion your enemies ever sold was that they held power over you. Tonight, chosen one, that illusion turns to dust. Their so-called power was never real. It was manipulation disguised as authority, ego dressed as strength, and your patience misused as fuel. The moment you stop buying their narrative, their empire crumbles. You no longer ask for apologies, explanations, or clarity. You know your truth. The second you stop doubting yourself, their entire dynamic flips. You're not sitting at their table anymore. You have removed the table altogether. A spell only works until you recognize it for what it is. They thrived on your confusion, knowing you cared enough to search for answers. They kept you tangled in chaos, feeding you just enough doubt to keep you second-guessing. You wanted truth, so you stayed when you should have walked. You wanted peace, so you explained yourself over and over. You wanted love, so you gave them chance after chance. But that old version of you is gone. Tonight you shift from hoping to knowing, and the architecture of their manipulation collapses like a house of cards. Imagine a puppet master yanking strings with confidence, making the doll dance to their tune. But suddenly the puppet cuts its own strings and stands on its own. The master's hands twitch in the air, pulling at nothing, exposed as powerless. That is you now, chosen one. They did not have power, you gave them attention. They did not have control, you gave them access. Now that you have reclaimed both, their power trip crashes like glass against concrete. Your silence, once a source of their comfort, now makes you sovereign. The rejection that once broke you now confirms your strength. The guilt trips that once worked now sound like empty noise. You have outgrown their bait, and when the bait does not work, the fisherman loses control of the hook. You are not the wounded one waiting for closure anymore. You are the closure. You are not the confused one waiting for answers. You are the answer. Their fake authority only worked when you doubted your own. Tonight, that curtain is ripped down for good. Their games are exposed, their tricks are spent, their stage is empty. What they are facing now is the one thing they prayed would never arrive. You, awakened, untouchable, and no longer under their spell. You become the scripture they cannot decipher. You are not a book they can skim. You are a code they were never built to understand. Tonight, chosen one, you step into a level of power that cannot be Googled, debated, or watered down. You are not chasing attention or striving to seem mysterious. You simply carry something they cannot translate. This is the authority that comes when you evolve beyond surface-level consciousness. Your silence cuts deeper than their loudest accusations. Your presence becomes a sermon they cannot comprehend. Imagine walking into a room where everyone is trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. They bend, they twist, they argue over what fits, but nothing clicks. Then you arrive, and your very presence is the missing piece. Suddenly the puzzle is not broken, they are. That is why people who encounter you will feel a strange pull. Some will be drawn closer, desperate to figure you out. Others will recoil, mocking what they cannot understand, because it is easier to laugh at a mystery than to admit they are unprepared to face it. Their confusion is their consequence, not your burden. They will project their discomfort onto you, calling you difficult, unapproachable, too intense. But the truth is, it is not you. It is the gap between your awareness and theirs that makes them restless. You do not have to explain yourself or justify your existence. You are no longer pleading to be seen by those who refuse to lift the veil from their own eyes. Your life itself becomes the message. The way you walk, the way you breathe, the way you carry silence, these are sermons. You disturb the shallow because your depth reveals their emptiness. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. Some are destined to be confused by you. That confusion is their spiritual verdict. So accept it, chosen one. You are not here to be read like a paperback. You are here to be witnessed like a sacred mystery. You become the breaker of bloodline chains. Deadliest rebellion is not against strangers, it is against the lies your own blood called tradition. Tonight, chosen one, you become the one who ends the dysfunction they normalized. You were not born to carry the story your family rehearsed for generations. You were born to interrupt it, loudly, unapologetically, and with finality. The pain they called love, the silence they called respect, the wounds they passed down as culture, it all ends with you. Not because you hate your roots, but because you have the courage to ask the question no one else would. Why do we keep repeating what is killing us? From childhood, you felt it, that sharp awareness when favoritism played out at the dinner table, the quiet rage when secrets hung in the air like smoke, the knot in your stomach when manipulation was dressed up as discipline. You knew even as a child that something was not right, because you noticed, they noticed you noticing, and that is when they labeled you the problem. But you were never the problem, you were the interruption. The first one to heal always looks like the villain to the unhealed. Your boundaries feel like disrespect to them, your silence like betrayal, your refusal to carry their baggage like bitterness. But that is not truth, that is programming, designed to attack anything that threatens their illusion of family unity. Imagine a domino chain falling for generations, each piece knocking the next over, no one questioning the pattern. Then suddenly one piece refuses to fall. That is you, chosen one. Your refusal is not weakness, it is strength. Your healing breaks the rhythm. Your distance cracks the illusion. Your peace exposes what they have called normal for decades. You did not have to fight them to undo the system, you simply refused to play your assigned role. No more shrinking to keep the peace. No more performing to earn love. No more carrying wounds that were never yours. You walked away and breathed, and that single breath became rebellion. You did not just break a cycle, you shattered a legacy of survival disguised as love. Now, you stand as living evidence that freedom was always possible, and it begins with you. 10. You become a soul they cannot afford. The cruelest punishment is not blocking someone, it is living at a value they can no longer afford to touch. Tonight, chosen one, you stop lowering your frequency to be understood. You stop diluting yourself so others can sip you comfortably. Not because you have grown arrogant, but because survival demanded it. You have stepped into a level of worth that cannot be bargained with. Your soul has become a luxury, not a convenience. And those who once wandered in and out of your energy without cost now find themselves shut out. Not because you slammed the door, but because they no longer carry the currency to enter. Think of all the years you bent yourself into shapes that were not natural. You shrunk your presence so others would not feel small. You over-explained yourself to ears that were never listening. You tolerated chaos because you thought peace meant keeping everyone else comfortable. But that version of you is gone. Every wound you have healed, every scar you have turned into wisdom, has raised your price. Your silence now speaks louder than their demands ever could. Imagine a priceless diamond sitting in a pawn shop, treated like a trinket, people haggling, devaluing its worth. But the moment that diamond is placed in its true setting, under the right light, its value becomes undeniable. No one dares touch it without paying the real cost. That is you, chosen one. You have left the pawn shop of people's convenience. Your energy is now rare, sacred, untouchable. Your presence costs honesty, accountability, growth, prices most cannot pay. That is why you will find yourself declining invitations without guilt, letting phones ring unanswered, walking away without a second thought. They will gossip about how you have changed, and they will be right. Because what they miss is not you, it is their old control over you. Even family is no exception. Blood may connect bodies, but it does not buy spiritual access. If their presence brings chaos or ego, they do not get a seat at your table. Titles no longer grant clearance, only alignment does. Your soul is now premium, your energy sacred, and tonight, the universe locks in that truth. They can knock, they can beg, but unless their spirit is leveled up, their access remains revoked. 11. You become the reality they said could never exist. The cruelest revenge is not shouting back, it is living as the proof of what they swore was impossible. Tonight, chosen one, you become that proof. They said you would never get back up, never recover, never matter without them. They smirked when you stumbled, gossiped when you broke, clinked glasses when they thought they had buried you for good. But they did not realize you were never their victim. You were a seed buried in darkness, destined to break through the soil. Now, you are the one thing they claimed could never exist, the living contradiction to their entire story. They did not just doubt you, they invested in your downfall. Your pain was their proof of superiority, your struggle their comfort. Every tear you shed fed their pride, but your healing destroyed their investment. Every breath you take in peace, every step you walk in strength, every word you speak in truth dismantles their lies in real time. They thought you were finished, but you have become the headline they cannot erase, the rise they swore would never come. Imagine a building they set on fire, convinced nothing would remain but ash. But when the smoke cleared, a stronger structure stood fireproof, unshakable, radiant. That is you, chosen one. The scars they mocked are now etched with wisdom. The trauma they weaponized became your training ground. The brokenness they tried to chain you with has turned into technology for your soul. Every label they threw at you has become armor, every lie fuel. Your glow offends them, not because it is loud, but because it is undeniable. They said you were too broken, your joy now makes them choke. They said you were too damaged, yet you are the safest presence in the room. Every attempt to bury you only deepened your roots. Now your life itself is their judgment. You do not just survive, you radiate. You do not just rise, you rise in full view of those who bet against you. You are the miracle they cannot explain. The truth they prayed would never be proven. You become the exam they cannot pass. The harshest test is not written on paper. It is standing in front of someone who exposes every lie they have been hiding. Tonight, chosen one, you become that test. You are no longer just walking through life, you are walking through people's disguises. Your presence is a mirror they cannot dodge, a proof they cannot deny, an exam they never prepared for. Your very existence divides the genuine from the jealous, the loyal from the fraudulent. You do not even have to try. Elevation reveals loyalty faster than betrayal ever could. The moment you level up, their reactions write their own report cards. Some will cheer louder than ever because they were always for you. Others will shrink back in silence, their fake smiles cracking under the pressure of your growth. A few will attempt sabotage, not because you wronged them, but because your glow reminds them of everything they refuse to become. Your peace, your confidence, your radiance, it all becomes a trigger, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You did not set out to test them, but your presence is now the test. Imagine a piece of litmus paper dipped into a solution. Instantly, the color changes, revealing what was hidden. That is you, chosen one. You are the spiritual litmus test. Walk into a room and watch. Who celebrates, who gossips, who imitates, who complicates. Their reactions reveal them before their words ever can. Jealousy leaks through, bitterness boils over, and you will not need to overanalyze. Their energy tells on them. Your transformation demands honesty, and that demand will break most of them. Step boldly, chosen one. Speak freely, shine fully. Your success is sacred, and it comes with an assignment to separate the real from the fake. You are the filter, the test, the exam they did not study for and cannot cheat their way through.